There is currently no military solution to Mariupol, he said late on Friday. That is not only my opinion, that is the opinion of the military. In Mykolaiv, rescuers searched the rubble of the Marine barracks that was destroyed in an apparent missile attack on Friday. The region's governor said the Marines were asleep when the attack happened. It isn't clear how many Marines were inside at the time, and rescuers were still searching the rubble for survivors the following day. But a senior Ukrainian military official, who spoke to the New York Times on condition of anonymity to reveal sensitive information, estimated that as many as 40 Marines were, which would make it one of the highest known attacks on Ukrainian forces during the war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called on Saturday for comprehensive peace talks with Moscow and also urged Switzerland to do more to crack down on Russian oligarchs, who he said were helping wage war on his country with their money. Zelensky, who makes frequent impassioned appeals to foreign audiences for help for his country, told an anti-war protest in Bern that Swiss banks were where the money of the people who unleashed this war lay and their accounts should be frozen. Ukrainian cities are being destroyed on the orders of people who live in beautiful Swiss towns, who enjoy property in your cities. It would really be good to strip them of this privilege, he said in an audio address. Neutral Switzerland, which is not a member of the European Union, has fully adopted EU sanctions against Russian individuals and entities, including orders to freeze their wealth in Swiss banks. Britain's defense attaché to the United States said British intelligence believes Russia has been taken aback by the Ukrainian resistance to its assault and has so far failed to achieve its original objectives. Russia has been forced to change its operational approach and is now pursuing a strategy of attrition, likely to involve the indiscriminate use of firepower resulting in increased civilian casualties, Air Vice Marshal Mick Smith said in a statement. Putin appeared on Friday at a rally in Moscow, where he lavished praise on his country's military. "We have not had unity like this for a long time," Putin told the cheering crowd. Loading the rally took place as Russia has faced heavier than expected losses on the battlefield and increasingly authoritarian rule at home, where police have detained thousands of anti-war protesters. Estimates of Russian S vary widely, but even conservative figures are in the low thousands. Russia had 64 S in 5 days of fighting during its 2008 war with Georgia. It lost about 15,000 in Afghanistan over 10 years, and more than 11,000 in years of fighting in Chechnya. The Russian military said on Saturday that it used its latest hypersonic missile for the first time in combat. Major General Igor Konashenkov said Kinzhal missiles destroyed an underground warehouse storing Ukrainian missiles and aviation ammunition in the western region of Ivano-Frankivsk. Russia has said the Kinzhal, carried by MiG-31 fighter jets, has a range of up to 2,000 kilometers and flies at 10 times the speed of sound. Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby said the US couldn't confirm the use of a hypersonic missile. UN bodies have confirmed more than 847 civilian S since the war began, though they concede the actual toll is likely much higher. The UN says more than 3.3 million people have fled Ukraine as refugees. Nannies take care of newborn babies in a basement converted into a nursery in Kiev. The northwestern Kiev suburbs of Bucha, Hostomel, Irpin and Moshchun were under fire on Saturday, the Kiev Regional Administration reported. It said Slavutich, 165 kilometers north of the capital, was completely isolated. Evacuations from Mariupol and other besieged cities proceeded along 8 of 10 humanitarian corridors, Deputy Prime Minister Irina Vereshchuk said, and a total of 6,623 people were evacuated. Waiting to board a bus at a triage center near the Moldova-Ukraine border, a woman named Irina said she decided to leave home in Mykolaiv this week after a loud explosion shook the walls, waking her young daughter. "Can you imagine the fear I had, not for me but for my child," said Irina, who didn't provide her last name. "So we made decision to arrive here, but I don't know where we are going, where we'll stay." Vereshchuk said planned humanitarian aid for the southern city of Kherson, which Russia seized early in the war, could not be delivered because the trucks were stopped along the way by Russian troops. Ukraine and Russia have held several rounds of negotiations aimed at ending the conflict, but remain divided over several issues, with Moscow pressing for its neighbors' demilitarization and Kiev demanding security guarantees. Putin spoke by phone on Saturday, for a second time this week, with Luxembourg Prime Minister Xavier Bettel. The Kremlin said Putin outlined fundamental assessments of the course of the talks between Russian and Ukrainian representatives, while Bettel informed him about contacts with the leadership of Ukraine and other countries. British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss accused Putin of using the talks as a smokescreen while his forces regroup. "We don't see any serious withdrawal of Russian troops or any serious proposals on the table," she told the Times of London. This satellite image provided by Maxa Technologies on Saturday, March 19, 2022 shows the aftermath of the airstrike on the Mariupol Drama Theatre, Ukraine, and the word "children" painted on the ground outside the building. AP US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, during a Saturday visit to NATO ally Bulgaria, said the Russian invasion had stalled on a number of fronts, but the US had not yet seen signs that Putin was deploying additional forces. Around Ukraine, hospitals, schools and buildings where people sought safety have been attacked. At least 130 people survived the Wednesdaying of a Mariupol theater that was being used to shelter, but another 1,300 were believed to be still inside, Ludmila Denisova, the Ukrainian Parliament's Human Rights Commissioner, said on Friday. "Loading, we pray that they will all be alive, but so far there is no information about them," Denisova told Ukrainian television. A satellite image from Maxa Technologies, released on Saturday, confirmed earlier reports that much of the theater was destroyed. It also showed the word "children" written in Russian in large white letters outside the building. Zelensky said more than 9,000 people were able to leave Mariupol on Friday along a route leading 227 kilometers to the city of Zaporizhia, which is also under attack. Southern Ukraine's Zaporizhia region announced a 38-hour curfew after 2 missile strikes 9 people on Friday. Russian forces have fired on 8 cities and villages in the eastern Donetsk region in the past 24 hours, including Mariupol, Ukraine's national police said Saturday. Dozens of civilians were wounded, and at least 37 residential buildings and facilities were damaged, including a school, a museum, and a shopping center. In the western city of Lviv, Ukraine's cultural capital, which was hit by Russian missiles on Friday, military veterans were training dozens of civilians on how to handle firearms and grenades. "It's hard, because I have really weak hands, but I can manage it," said one trainee, 22-year-old Katerina Ishchenko.